Hello everyone. Today we are doing lesson 18. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. And we will also be doing the corresponding text since it's Monday, which will be from chapter 2, the separation and the atonement, section 5, the function of the miracle worker, and we will be doing numbered paragraphs 8 through 18. So let's go ahead and begin with the chapter text. Paragraph 8. The fear of healing arises in the end from an unwillingness to accept unequivocally that healing is necessary. What the physical eye sees is not corrective, nor can error be corrected by any device that can be seen physically. As long as you believe in what your physical sight tells you, your attempts at correction will be misdirected. The real vision is obscured because you cannot endure to see your own defiled altar. But since the altar has been defiled, your state becomes doubly dangerous unless it is perceived. Healing is an ability that developed after the separation, before which it was unnecessary. Like all aspects of the belief in space and time, it is temporary. However, as long as time persists, healing is needed as a means of protection. This is because healing rests on charity, and charity is a way of perceiving the perfection of another even if you cannot perceive it in yourself. Most of the loftier concepts of which you are capable now are time-dependent. Charity is really a weaker reflection of a much more powerful love encompassment, that is far beyond any form of charity you can conceive as of yet. Charity is essential to right-mindedness in the limited sense in which it can now be attained. 10. Charity is a way of looking at another as if he had already gone far beyond his actual accomplishments in time. Since his own thinking is faulty, he cannot see the atonement for himself, or he would have no need of charity. The charity that is accorded him is both an acknowledgement that he needs help and a recognition that he will accept it. Both of these perceptions clearly imply their dependence on time, making it apparent that charity still lies within the limitations of this world. I said before that only revelation transcends time. The miracle as an expression of charity can only shorten it. It must be understood, however, that whenever you offer a miracle to another, you are shortening the suffering of both of you. This corrects retroactively as well as progressively. A. Special principles of miracle workers. Paragraph 11. The miracle abolishes the need for lower order concerns. Since it is an out-of-pattern time interval, the ordinary considerations of time and space do not apply. When you perform a miracle, I will arrange both time and space to adjust to it. A clear distinction between what is created and what is made is essential. All forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction in level perception. 13. Never confuse right and wrong-mindedness. Responding to any form of error with anything except a desire to heal is an expression of this confusion. 14. The miracle is always a denial of this error and an affirmation of the truth. Only right-mindedness can correct in a way that has any real effect. Pragmatically, what has no real effect has no real existence. Its effect, then, is emptiness. Being without substantial content, it lends itself to projection. 15. The level adjustment power of the miracle induces the right perception for healing. Until this has occurred, healing cannot be understood. Forgiveness is an empty gesture unless it entails correction. Without this, it is essentially judgmental rather than healing. Interjecting here. Alex and I were talking yesterday or the day before about him saying sorry. I'm sorry to me. And one of the things that I had confusion with years ago when he and I first met, especially dealing with my empathic ability of feeling another person's intent and belief in where they're at. When he would say, "Oh, I'm sorry for doing this or that," I had a hard time accepting that apology. And for me, in my mind, it would feel as if it wasn't a true "I'm sorry," because he would continue to repeat the same pattern over and over. And I couldn't comprehend how he could say he was sorry, yet still continue repeating the same pattern. And my misunderstanding in that, and my judgment in that, was that he must not be sorry. If he continues to repeat the same pattern, then he must not really be sorry. And that wasn't true. Each time he was absolutely sorry. He just wasn't recognizing the pattern he kept repeating himself.
Or how to stop repeating the pattern.
Exactly.
What is the cause of me repeating a pattern that is upsetting to you, that is harmful
and
to you?
painful and hurtful.
Right.
And so in that respect, we were both caught up in something that we had been taught to do. And we could not figure out at that time why it kept coming up. It's like we were looking at the surface, but not delving deeper to understand where we were and what was happening. And now, years later, we have come to an understanding of what was happening then, of the misperceptions I had, misperceptions he has had, and things of that nature. And in doing so, we have been able to heal, come to a joint understanding, and move forward from it. But we couldn't do that until we had a dialogue about what it is we were each perceiving, experiencing, and feeling, keeping it on ourselves and not pointing fingers and placing blame. And that didn't come until after we had started doing this course. As I said, we've been together for 16 years. And it's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that we have come to these understandings. It's a process and it's growing within ourselves and growing together. And we have learned to stop seeing each other as separate individuals completely, and to start recognizing that in truth we are one unit, one entity, one being, two halves of a whole, incomplete without the other. We are the yin and yang, opposite yet the same, equal, and we recognize that with each other. We recognize it, we accept it, we allow it, we embrace it. We see things differently, we experience things differently.
But we still stand by our own truth from our hearts.
Exactly.
Respect each other's truth, but we still stand by our own truth.
Exactly. There are many things that we have not seen eye to eye on. And it's simply because we have both had different experiences. It doesn't invalidate either one of us. It shows us that there's validity in each of our experiences. No two people see things the same. And that's what we have to recognize. We can't expect everyone out there to see things exactly as we see them. It's not possible. Continuing on. Miracle minded forgiveness is only correction. It has no element of judgment at all. The statement, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, in no way evaluates what they do. It is an appeal to God to heal their minds. There is no reference to the outcome of the error. That does not matter. 17. The injunction, be of one mind, is a statement for revelation readiness. My request, do this in remembrance of me, is the appeal for cooperation from miracle workers. The two statements are not in the same order of reality, only the latter involves an awareness of time, since to remember is to recall the past in the present. Time is under my direction, but timelessness belongs to God. In time we exist for and with each other. In timelessness we coexist with God. Last paragraph, 18. You can do much on behalf of your own healing and that of others if, in a situation calling for help, you think of it this way. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. This was Chapter 2, The Separation and the Atonement, Section 5, The Function of the Miracle Worker, paragraphs 8 through 18, breaking into a Section A for Special Principles of Miracle Workers. And I'd like to bring your attention to paragraph 18 and the prayer there, because that is a prayer. And it's basically showing that everything is for our benefit. And when we place ourselves in His hands, whatever it is He has us share in those moments, if we put all of our faith and trust in whatever it is that He brings to us, it will be of benefit to all. It will be healing to all.
That's showing the faith that everything that happens is for our benefit. Every place we find ourselves in, every situation we find ourselves in is for our benefit.
Always.
And I find that this prayer is probably one of the most powerful prayers in all of A Course in Miracles for me, as it really helps to align myself with Holy Spirit's intention.
Yeah, with His truth and light. So once again, this prayer is, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. That prayer is truly uplifting. It is recognizing and allowing that you are going to let someone else, no, not someone, you are going to allow a specific being, Holy Spirit, to guide you. You will accept direction from Him and only Him. Not from your friends, not from your family, not from your coworkers or boss, not from your spouse. That in everything you are staying true to yourself and standing in His light of truth. when I am doing these lessons, when we are doing these lessons, we keep this prayer uppermost in our mind. I give over to Him when I sit down in front of these cameras to show me what He would have me share. Let Him direct me in everything. Everything He has had me sharing with you is the truth of my experiences and what He has shown me to be true. And in placing my faith and belief in Him, I'm healed. Cancers, diabetes, high blood pressure. I am healed of everything. And I cannot help but see the truth in the things He's showing me as I am being healed from these diseases. It shows me how everything is connected. The mind, the body, the feelings in my spirit. All of them are connected. And none of them can be broken away from the other because they all are for me. They're of benefit to me. My body is a tool. It shows me what I need to look at. When I feel that pain and suffering inside, that's something for me to look at. What I experience isn't what other people experience. That's why it's my path and not theirs. What other people experience, I don't experience. That's why it's their path and not mine. Our paths are valid.
All paths are valid. All experiences are valid.
Exactly. And for anyone to try and tell us differently tells me that they are not in their right mind. They are allowing their egoic mind to step forward and dictate what is truth for them. I don't do that anymore. I am always handing everything over to Holy Spirit. Every thought I have, I hand over to Him. Because I recognize I don't know what is or isn't.
We don't know what anything is for.
That too. It's like I have to let myself let go of everything I think is true, everything I'm believing in, core beliefs, everything, every thought, whether it's a compliment or a judgment. In truth, even a compliment is a judgment. So, in letting all of those things come forward, I hand them to Holy Spirit and ask Him, what's the truth of this? What am I misperceiving here? What am I judging to be true? And in saying this person is beautiful and that person isn't, I'm not saying they're equal anymore. I'm saying one's better than the other, or one is worse than the other. And that simply isn't true. All are equal, all are beautiful. I've just been taught to see it differently, to judge it. And that's what I'm learning not to do anymore. There's beauty in everyone and in everything we see. Moving on to Lesson 18. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. The idea for today is another step in learning that the thoughts which give rise to what you see are never neutral or unimportant. It also emphasizes the idea that minds are joined, which will be given increasing stress later on. Interjecting. As I've been saying in the previous lessons, we project out on the world what we believe to be true in our hearts and minds. We take these judgments and opinions in from our families because they are projecting out what they believe. We take them in, we enact them on ourselves, and then we project them out on everyone around us. And all the folks around us our peers are doing the exact same thing we're doing. They have been taught to do the same things we are doing. Thereby, we reinforce what they believe and they reinforce what we believe.
And the cycle keeps going round and round perpetually until somebody says no more.
This is not me. I've had enough. Which is where I have been. It's where Alex has been. We're saying no more. I'm done. I am not going to allow and accept these anymore. This is not my truth. If this is what you believe, so be it. But I do not need to stand here with you telling me I need to conform to your dictates and your beliefs. I don't have to stand here being called names, being told I'm a devil worshiper, or anything else. That simply is not true. I'm pure, I'm innocent, I'm a holy child of God. And you cannot take that away from me. You cannot define me. Only I may define me. Simple as that. Continuing on. Today's idea does not refer to what you see as much as to how you see it. Therefore, the exercises for today emphasize this aspect of your perception. The 3 or 4 practice periods which are recommended should be done as follows. Look about you, selecting subjects for the application of the idea for today as randomly as possible and keeping your eyes on each one long enough to say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. That is, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. Conclude each practice period by repeating the more general statement. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. That is, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. A minute or so, or even less, will be sufficient for each practice period. That was lesson 18. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. And as I was just saying, folks, when you project out what you think and believe on the world around you and on your peers and your family members, they are doing the exact same thing to you. You are each reinforcing what you're believing. In this way, if you are misperceiving something, you are not going to be alone in experiencing what you're seeing in that way. You will be projecting it out so everyone else around you will be experiencing the same thing. Maybe in different ways at different levels, but it's still experiencing the same thing.
Well, what we're doing is we're judging whatever it may be, a situation or, whatever, and we are then projecting that judgment out and telling everyone else what our judgments are. And if those people then believe our judgments, then we're not alone in experiencing the effects of what we see. We are projecting that out onto others and the world, and this is what causes this perpetual misperception by everyone in the world, because everyone is judging everyone else and everyone's believing it. Mm-hmm. They're believing in the lies and the judgments that aren't necessarily true.
Exactly. So, in everything, pay attention, please, to what you're thinking, what you are saying. We keep getting these folks that want to come up and give advice, saying to Alex, you're doing it wrong. You need to see it the way I'm seeing it. You need to be gentle with yourself and with everybody else around you.
Yeah, you need to lighten up.
Yeah, you need to lighten up. You need to love everybody and just allow and accept how they're treating you. No. Holy Spirit's been very clear with me. I am not to allow and accept abuse of any kind for any reason. I am not to allow and accept judgments and opinions to be laid onto me by anyone for any reason. Ever. Ever. There is absolutely no reason for me or anyone else to accept a judgment and opinion from anyone. It matters not if it is your family, your friends, your coworkers, your boss. No one. Not a cop, not the President of the United States, not a king, not a queen. No one. Everyone is equal. That is what we keep misperceiving, that we are better than or less than everybody else. We are not. Everyone is equal. Your family members are not better or less than you. They are equal to you. And that is where we keep screwing up, folks. We keep thinking somebody else is better or worse. We are judging them as they are judging us. And we have to learn to stop doing that, to discern what our thoughts are and start discerning between our egoic thoughts and the thoughts being brought forth to us by Holy Spirit. When we see these egoic thoughts come up, look at them. Ask yourself, why is it here? What am I thinking and believing in here? Why the hell did this shit come up in the first place? And in doing that, when looking at these things, say, okay, Holy Spirit, I don't know what anything's for. I don't know why this is coming up and why I'm experiencing this, but obviously I'm missing something. I'm not liking how it feels. I'm not liking what I'm experiencing with this. I'm not even liking these thoughts that I'm starting to recognize coming in. What is my misperception here? What am I missing in this situation? And in that instant, I start pulling it apart, bit by bit, thread by thread, pixel by pixel, word by word, image by image. And I start looking at each one individually and looking at the meanings I'm putting on them. I'm looking at the meanings I'm putting on them, the judgments I have of them, the beliefs I have in them. And in doing that, I have to recognize what I am doing to myself. And I have to recognize that my brother may not even understand or recognize what the hell it is they keep doing. It's one of those things of years ago, when Alex and I first met, he would grab a glass out the cabinet, get a drink of water or something, put the glass in the sink. 20, 30 minutes later, go back in the kitchen, get another glass out, get another glass of water with a clean glass, put it in the sink, so that by the end of the day, I had 16 glasses to wash when I should have only had one or two. And it was things of that nature that I was like, okay, if you're going to use a glass, you don't have to keep getting a clean one. You can rinse it, turn it over, something, if you don't want dust getting into it. But you can continue using that glass if all you're drinking out of it is water throughout the day. You don't have to keep getting a clean glass. And it was something that he wouldn't think about at the time. It wasn't clicking into him the amount of work it was giving me. Until I asked him to stand there and do the dishes for me. And then what did that open your eyes to?
Well, I already knew I didn't like doing dishes, so I got it. It wasn't always a glass of water that I was getting.
Yeah.
It might be a glass of milk, and I don't like using the same glass that I had milk in 2 hours ago,
Yeah, I know, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
It's completely understandable. Nobody likes to have the little speckles of milk residue in their
chunks.
Or chunks in their iced tea or the soda or
in their water
or anything they're drinking. Their fruit juice. It's like, ugh, why is there chunks in my drink? Nasty. So it was those kinds of things. Like he would say, "I'm sorry," and I would be, "But you keep doing it." That I couldn't comprehend. How can he say he's sorry if he keeps doing it? And that was my misperception. my misperception that I had to get over. He wasn't doing it purposefully to try and give me more work or be hurtful to me. He wasn't doing it to be an ass. He was doing it because when he would drink something, he would recognize he didn't want to mix them. And in that respect, he had a reason for doing what he did. I just wasn't cognizant of it. And he wasn't relaying that information to me at the time either. And that is what caused the upset, the confusion. And as I learned to let those things go, in lieu of the truth that I was being shown by Holy Spirit, those things have stopped irritating me. They have stopped causing the conflict we were having. As we both opened a dialogue about it, talked about it, those kinds of conflicts have come to an end. We have learned to recognize what it is that the other's perceiving and to see it from their perspective without judgment, and to allow them to have that perspective, and in so doing, to open our eyes to another possibility of seeing everything we're perceiving. We're willingly
Willingly.
I know, but I just keep saying willingly.
Willingly.
Yeah, willingly.
Willingly.
Sometimes my tongue doesn't want to work. So we're looking at these things and accepting that we each have our own truth. We each have our own way of perceiving and understanding things. And we don't always see things the same. And that's okay. Our experiences are what formulate our perceptions. And our experiences are what guide us through our lives to recognize that we don't like walking out to our car late at night in a dark, almost empty parking lot by ourselves when we're getting off work. We would rather have somebody else walking out there with us to make sure we get there okay. Because we have a fear of stepping out into that darkness with nothing to protect us. Recognizing that someone can come at us from anywhere in that darkness. And we instinctively fear that possibility. And so we ask somebody to walk out with us to our car so we feel safe, secure, and protected. I used to have someone come and look under and inside my car to make sure there was nobody there. Going through the rapes, molestations, beatings, and stuff like that. And the last time I had been raped was in my 20s. So I understood the perils in a way that a lot of people can't comprehend. So I would learn to take those precautions to keep those types of things from continuing to happen to me. Did I do it out of fear? Yes. But I also did it out of a sense of self-preservation.
At the same time, that is bringing the past into the present. That is putting a higher value on your body and losing the recognition that you cannot actually be harmed and there is no death and no one can actually hurt you.
Exactly. And that was one of the things that I had to learn to come to terms with, that I am not my body. And when I had that motorcycle accident back in 2004, 2005, and found myself lying in that bed, bedridden for months, not able to take care of myself or my family or my house, having someone else come in and bathe me, wipe my butt, everything, feed me because I couldn't even hold a spoon up. My hands kept going like this to my hand. I couldn't even feed myself. Someone else had to feed me at the time. And giving over those things that were what I was taught to believe defined me also made me recognize that I wasn't my body. My body no longer defined me anymore. And that was an eye-opener. As I started looking at those things, I had to recognize everything that I was believing to be true was a lie. Everything I was holding forth as defining who I was as a human being was a lie. And that is a very big pill to swallow. All my pain and suffering I did to myself in that. And Holy Spirit kept laying it all before me. Look at this. Look what you're defining yourself as being. Why? It's not true. It's a lie. And I projected that out onto everyone around me, telling my husband that he needed to accept and allow and see me and protect me and coddle me and conform to my dictates and beliefs because I was so fearful lying in that bed. And all that did was push him away from me. Made him want to run away and get away from the banshee I was becoming.
You did get to be very bitter and very angry, especially if I would go for a motorcycle ride and you couldn't because you were in bed. Whether it was a motorcycle ride by myself or particularly if it was with somebody else, then you would get really upset.
Yeah, because I would feel left out.
And I felt like I wasn't allowed to go out and have fun anymore, that I couldn't ride my motorcycle or go and hang out with friends or anything, because if I did anything, you felt left out.
I felt abandoned.
Abandoned, right.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, I have felt abandoned all my life by everyone and everything. Everyone that I was told I was supposed to put my faith and trust into abandoned me in my hour of need. Everyone. My husband was no exception. That's how it came across.
Perception.
Yeah.
That's perception right there.
Yeah. And that's how everything came across to me, that I was being abandoned constantly in my hour of need. And those were all things that I did to myself. It was all my own perceptions and judgments. That I had needs, wants, and desires. And no one was supporting me in that. And, at that time in my life, I had reached that bottom of that barrel. And I was like, okay, God, I'm done. I was in pain. I was suffering atrociously, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I had pain on all levels. From broken bones to a broken body. And that was a torment in self-discovery. It was painful. It was a mental torment to look at all of those things and then to have to accept responsibility for what I did. It was painful, agonizing. The amount of anguish I felt was quite unbearable. That's why I kept thinking to myself, I just need to check out. I need to die. I'm done. Kill me now. And all the folks around me kept projecting out that same belief that I was having, that I just needed to let go and die already, that I was making everybody around me miserable.
Again, that's perception.
I know. And that's how I was looking at my life back then. It was ugly, very ugly. Now, here's the kicker. You know, during that time, Alex was judging me. His friends kept telling him that I was faking it and not hurt as badly as I was pretending. And what was it that you found out for yourself, Alex?
I had to experience the same injuries that you experienced because of my judgments.
Exactly.
And therefore, I had to break my arm in the exact same place your arm was broken, and I had to go through the suffering of that.
Exactly. And you will find, folks, that the more you judge, the more you end up having to experience that thing that you're judging. That's how this plays out.
Karma.
Very much so. It's karmic. So think about these things that you're judging. The advice you're giving, the opinions you're having, these judgments that you hand out like candy. And understand that every time you judge, it's karmic. It comes back on you to where you have to experience it yourself before you get it that judging doesn't work. It's going through those types of things that suddenly open your eyes to how much crap you've been taught to believe. Like I said, it's an eye-opener. And it's a big pill to swallow, and it's nasty. It's twice as big as a horse pill, I'll tell you that. If you got a gag reflex, you better make sure that you drink a lot of water with it. Because that shit will get stuck. And believe me, it does. It gets stuck here. It gets stuck here, 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 here. And then it gets stuck right here before it plops into that stomach. It gets stuck in a lot of places, and you will find that everything that you've been judging all your life is being played out on multiple levels, multiple situations that seem completely different and unconnected. All of them are connected and based off of the same judgments that you were taught at infancy. From the cradle, folks. Most of this shit is from the cradle. Taught to us by our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, our cousins, our siblings. And then when we started going to school, it was taught to us by our peers and the other adults around us, the teachers, the principals, the doctors, the nurses, the police, anyone and everyone. They projected out their judgments onto you, and you accepted them as being true because they were the adults. They knew what was best, or so you thought and believed. We're finding out none of that's true. They don't know what's best. And we've been taught to believe things that simply aren't true. I sound like a broken record, I know. But only the truth is true. So, Lesson 18, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my sin. Chapter 2, the separation and the atonement. Section 5, the function of the miracle worker with Part A, special principles of miracle workers. That was 8 through 18, with it ending with the prayer of, I'm here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. And as I share in my experiences, the healings I've gotten, I help my brothers to heal as well. I love you all. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sabrina Reyenga. my husband Alex Reyenga behind the camera, and
We have Thor,
Thor.
right here.
I don't know if he has Spaz up behind him still or not.
No, all the other animals are outside right now,
Yeah.
hanging out somewhere else.
Well, except for the snakes.
Well, they're hanging out in the snake cage, and camera's not pointing that way, so nobody can see them.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us. Hugs, love, and blessings. Namaste.